Paprastai po to dalinsimės turbūt su tais, kurie nespėjo prisijungti. Šiandien turim puikią viešnią vieno valstybinio universiteto New York'e Oswego kampuso atstovę. Tai labai džiaugiuosi, kad turėsim ir pristatymą anglų kalba. Praktiškai viskas vyks anglų kalba, tik tai keletą įžanginių skaidrių noriu pradėti lietuvių kalba. Taigi, studijos JAV šiandien turbūt yra tikrai arčiau negu atrodė anksčiau. Ir ne tik tai JAV, bet ir Šiaurės Amerikoje ir Kanadoje. Kaip žinote, Didžioji Britanija pasidarys mums pakankamai brangi jau kitais mokslo metais ir matyt nebepritrauks tokio kiekio studentų kaip iki šiol. Dabar jaučiam didelę tendenciją moksleivių ieškančių sprendimų po visą Europą, bet kaip suprantame visi, su anglų kalba Europoje daug nenuveiksim. Vis dėlto tie, kas moka prancūzų, vokiečių, kitų šalių kalbas, tai jie tikrai turės didelį privalumą, galėdami rinktis studijas tose šalyse, kur ta kalba kalbama. Pasirinkimas programų bus labai didelis ir žinoma, kainos bus tokios pačios kaip visiems Europos piliečiam. Na, o mums lietuviam belieka mokytis kalbų arba ieškoti angliškai kalbančių rinkų. Tai ir pabandykim šiandien truputėlį pasižiūrėti į Jungtinės Amerikos valstijas, kągi jos mums gali pasiūlyti ir ar iš tikrųjų ten yra tokios brangios. Tai prieš perduodant žodį mūsų kolegijai ir partneriai Marijai, pirmiausia, noriu keletą atkreipti niuansų ir priminti, kuriuos reikia būtinai žinoti, kalbant apie studijas JAV. Pirmas dalykas, tai programų lankstumą, didžiausią lankstumą gali pasiūlyti būtent Jungtinės Amerikos valstijos ir Kanada. Jie turi taip vadinamą filosofiją laisvųjų menų ir mokslo, Liberal Arts and Sciences, kuomet pirmam ir antram kurse ypatingai studentas neturi būti dar apsisprendęs galutinai, ką nori studijuoti. Žinoma, gera žinia tiem, kas žino, ką nori studijuoti, jiems bus daug lengviau, bet tie, kurie dar svarsto, renkasi arba niekaip negali išsirinkti vienos iš kelių krypčių, tai šita filosofija labai padeda, nes tik antram kurse reikia galutinai atsakyti universitetui, kokia jūsų bus pagrindinė specialybė ir kokia šalutinė, tas major ir minor vadinama. Na, o skirtumas Europoje tas, kad Europoje mes, kai stojame renkamės studijas aukštajam moksle, mes turime konkrečiai žinoti specialybę. Rašydami motyvacinį laišką turim labai aiškiai pagrįsti, kodėl norim vieną ar kitą specialybę rinktis ir tą mes turime atsakyti labai konkrečiai. Kitas pagrindinis skiriamasis bruožas tas, kad Šiaurės Amerikoje studijos bakalaure trunka 4 metus, magistras paprastai 2 metai, 1,5. Na, o Europoje bakalauras trunka 3 metus ir magistras 1 metai. Tai jokių būdų nereiškia, kad kažkur reikia mažiau mokytis arba daugiau. Aukštajame moksle mes kalbame apie studijų kreditus. Kiekvienas mokomasis dalykas surenka tam tikrą kreditų skaičių ir tik tai gavus reikalingą kreditų skaičių mes galim gauti bakalaurą. Jungtinėse Amerikos valstijose studijos yra stengiamasi integruoti jas kuo daugiau praktinių veiklų ir todėl dažnai jos gali trukti šiek tiek ilgiau. Bet, kaip ir minėjau, kokybinė prasme, tiek Europoje, tiek Jungtinėse Amerikos valstijose ta trukmė visai neįtakoja kokybės. Kokios yra stipendijos iš principo? Tų stipendijų rūšių Jungtinėse Amerikos valstijose yra labai daug ir mūsų kolegė jums jas pristatys, bet pagrindinės yra tokios. Stipendijos gali būti akademinės ir jos gali būti jums skiriamos už akademinius pasiekimus, tai vienam mokomajam dalyke ar visuose, nesvarbu įvairiausių gali būti kriterijų. Taip pat yra nemažai numatyta finansinių instrumentų ir tos stipendijos tuomet vadinamos need-based, reiškia, kada tiksliai nurodome, kodėl mums reikalinga stipendija, ar šeimos pajamos nepakankamos, kad finansuotų studijas, yra daug tinkamų arba pateisinamų priežasčių, dėl ko galima prašyti stipendijos arba nuolaidos. Visi turbūt esate girdėję apie sporto stipendijas, kurios dažnai sportininkam padeda įstoti į labai gerus universitetus, bet tada jau sporto pasiekimai jauno žmogaus turi būti tikrai dideli, o įstojus universitetą sportui atiduodamas labai didelis taip pat dėmesys, ne tik tai studijom, tai įtampa žinoma išlieka. Na ir yra taip vadinama dalinių stipendijų programa, kurią siūlo labai daugelis universitetų, visai nepriklausomai nuo to, ar jie yra valstybiniai ar privatus. Šitoje programoje dalyvauja akredituotos ir aukštai reitinguojamos mokymo įstaigos, jų gali būti per 250 iš principo visose valstijose, nors žinome turbūt, kad Jungtinėse Amerikos valstijose turime beveik per 4000 aukštųjų mokymo įstaigų. Tad atsirinkti jas visas tikrai yra daug darbo. Ir kaip minėjau, jos gali būti valstybinės ir privačios. Iš tikrųjų, studentui paprastai neturi didelės reikšmės, ar jos yra valstybinės ar privačios, tiesiog kiekviena mokymo įstaiga turi savo politiką, kaip jie taiko stipendijas ir jas teikia. Tačiau bendrai įsivaizdavimui, kalbant apie skaičius, galima būtų pasakyti taip, kad turbūt žinot, kad studijos JAV gali kainuoti nuo 45 iki $100 000, tikrai yra labai didelė įvairovė kainų. Ką labai svarbu žinoti, kad kalbant apie studijas JAV, visada kalbame apie mokslą, apgyvendinimą ir maitinimą. Taip vadinama tuition, room and board. Tuoj Marija apie tai kalbės. O su daliniam stipendijom yra pakankamai didelė galimybė, kad visa šita suma kainuotų apie $25 000 per metus. Jeigu skaičiuosite, kiek kainuoja studijos Europoje, tai dažnai jos gali būtent tiek per metus šeimai ir kainuoti, apie €20 000. Jeigu, sakykime, Airijoje gali mokslai kainuoti nuo 3 iki 8 000 € per metus, plus pragyvenimas, maitinimas, transportas, visos kitos išlaidos. Ir žiūrėkit, ta bendra suma susidaro. Tik tiek, kad Europoje mes neturim didelės kultūros, kalbant apie mokslus, skaičiuoti ir apgyvendinimą ir maitinimą, o kalbant apie JAV studijas, visada kalbame apie bendrą kainą. Dažniausiai kalbame apie bendrą kainą. Tai iš mano pusės būtų tiek pagrindinių skiriamųjų bruožų, kuriuos aš norėjau pabrėžti. Ir dabar bandysiu perduoti žodį mūsų kolegei Marijai. Maria, are you ready to join us in with your presentation? I've just finished with main key points about the US education that I wanted to touch upon.
Wonderful.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Thank you so much for that introduction. I did try to pick up on some things.
Wonderful.
The visuals were, of course, helpful. So you can see me and you can see my screen. Is that correct?
I can't actually see your face, but I can see the screen perfectly well, the presentation. I don't know why the face is not on.
It says you can share your screen when you're done screen sharing. You can share your video when you're done screen sharing. Okay, so we'll have sort of a more intimate talk a little bit later. For now, I will just share my screen and we'll go through a few slides for about half an hour, 40 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the introduction, by the way. So my name is, as my colleague introduced, my name is Maria Kopnitsky. I'm the International Enrollment Manager here at the State University of New York at Oswego. And I want to talk to you today about ways for financing your education in the United States with a special focus on SUNY Oswego, of course. That's the university that I represent, so we have to give some bias to my college and university, but I hope that the information that I cover with you today will also be applicable, and I think it will, to many universities in the United States and around the world. So let's dive right in. Now, when we talk about evaluating the cost of your education, most students, and I cannot blame them for doing this, but most students typically think that their cost is dependent on what the tuition is at a particular university. Students will look around at different universities. How much is their tuition? If it is too high, they simply disregard that particular institution. However, it's very important to note that tuition is only one piece of the puzzle, which is financing your education in the United States and abroad, no matter where you go. You have to pay to live. So tuition is one piece, but there are also mandatory fees. In the United States, we have a health insurance fee. It could be $800 a year or more. You have to pay for books. Of course, you have to pay for your room. You have to pay for your meals. You have to eat. Other types of insurance that you may want to purchase that are up to students, whether it's travel insurance or apartment insurance. What about incidentals? Souvenirs, transportation. There are so many costs that you have to factor in apart from tuition. And tuition varies by institution to institution. So one good metric for determining overall cost in the United States is something called an I-20 cost. This is the number you have to show on their financial documentation in order to be issued immigration documentation from a particular university in order to obtain their student visa to attend that university. Is everyone following me? It's a little bit complicated. However, this is the idea, that the I-20 cost is your tuition, fees, health insurance, books, room, meals, everything that you are expected to pay to live and survive, along with your studies, which of course is the most important factor, at a particular institution. So at a university in New York City or Los Angeles, tuition may be, let's say, $14,000 a year. But room and meals may be $20,000 a year. So just when you're factoring in these particular factors or criteria, know that it depends on location. It depends on whether a particular institution is private versus public. In the United States, at least, public institutions tend to be cheaper. However, some do not offer like full tuition scholarships, for example. So public institutions tend to be cheaper in terms of tuition. However, they may not be able to offer as generous of scholarships in some cases or not. So the I-20 cost is how much a particular institution expects you to pay. Now, at SUNY Oswego, that cost is $35,350. You can see that we are very particular about how we calculate this. And it's based on 9 months, because 9 months is an academic year. But what do you do in the summer? Maybe you go back to your home country. Then you have to factor in those particular costs of a flight. Maybe you stay on campus. Well, how much does it cost to live for those extra 3 months? Now, we're going to talk about this $35,350 a little bit later, but know that this is the sort of cost you should be looking for, the I-20 cost, when talking to universities about your studies. What is the cost to study and live in a particular area at a certain institution? Now, as my colleague Eglė mentioned, was that okay? Is that all right?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
As I believe she mentioned in her presentation, there are many types of aid that you can qualify for. So now we're moving away from cost and into how to make that cost less for you as a unique individual with unique talents and circumstances. So the first type of aid is merit-based aid. Merit, we all know this word merit. Merit may be dependent on it usually is, on your academics. So at SUNY Oswego, how we judge students for merit-based scholarships is dependent on their SAT or ACT score, plus how well they did in high school. So we judge both of these things, and based on those factors, we develop a system for awarding merit scholarships. Some scholarships are automatic. They could be diversity scholarships given to all international students. That's another thing that we have at SUNY Oswego. For every international student, we give you a scholarship that's worth half of your tuition every year. So ask an institution that you're interested in about their diversity scholarships. Do they have any international student scholarship? Some scholarships are need-based. They are dependent on your family's financial background. If you need more money to attend that university, then perhaps they can give you need-based aid. Some are government funded, some are privately funded. And we'll get into how to search for government and privately funded scholarships after. In the United States, when we talk about athletic scholarships, of course, for athletes, in the United States, there are 3 divisions of universities in terms of sports. And these are Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. Division 3 cannot provide scholarships based on athletics for students. Division 2 and Division 1 can. For Division 1, many athletic scholarships should be available. So Division 1 is the most competitive to Division 3, which is the least competitive. At SUNY Oswego, we are Division 3. We have a very healthy sports team, especially in ice hockey, if anyone knows that sport, but we cannot offer scholarships. Finally, I want to talk about departmental scholarships. This is something that can be particularly common at the master's level. Depending on the department that you are applying to study in, whether that be the modern languages department or the engineering department, computer science department, art department, communications, broadcasting, departmental scholarships are granted by the particular department because they want you as a student in their faculty. Financial aid resources. So I promised you that we would talk about resources for searching for either governmental or independent scholarships and aid. Here are some of those resources. And of course, this presentation is being recorded. So these are things that you can refer back to later on. You don't have to write all of these down right now. But my favorites are the Institute of International Education, or IIE. This is a gigantic community of institutions around the world pertaining to higher education. And there you can search by program, by level, which is typically undergraduate or bachelor's, master's, or even PhD level, as well as sometimes by country. And you can find applicable scholarships based on those criteria. Another incredibly helpful resource is what is called Education USA. This is part of the United States government as part of our Department of State. And our Department of State has Education USA posts or offices around the world, and their job is to help you find resources to help you study in the United States. So part of that is scholarships. I'm sure there should be one, if not in Lithuania, then perhaps in a bordering country that you could refer to. There is a quite popular You Are Welcome Here scholarship that you can search for. That is to promote international students coming to the United States. Another incredibly helpful tool is the NAFSA Financial Aid, which is a resource for researching scholarships and private loans to attend a university in the United States. And then I have some other search resources here that can be helpful in your search for scholarships. Finally, I would be remiss if I did not touch on employment options as a method for financing education in the United States. The first of these is on-campus employment, which also encompasses graduate assistantship positions. All international students on an F visa, which is the most typical student visa in the United States, are allowed to work on campus. It is a benefit of their F1 visa. However, you can only work for up to 20 hours per week during the academic year. So while school is in session, you can work up to full-time during breaks. Now, the availability of work and of working hours is dependent on the institution. At SUNY Oswego, we are highly ranked. I believe we were recently ranked number 8 in New York State for on-campus employment of our international students. Our international students who wish to work usually do not have trouble finding working positions on campus. I should also mention how much you are paid in these positions depends greatly on the state that you are working and studying in. So if your campus is located, or your university is located in New York, the minimum wage in New York is over $11 an hour. This varies greatly within the United States. So a state like Alabama may be closer to only $8 an hour. Check what the minimum wage is in that state. Graduate assistantship positions are also on-campus employment. You are working for the campus or institution that you are studying at. But graduate assistantship positions are obviously reserved only for master's students. I know 5 international students at SUNY Oswego, for example, who are paying less than $1,500, so $1,500 per year for their education because they have excellent graduate assistantship positions. So their room is covered, their tuition is covered, their meals are covered, their health insurance is covered. So what else do they have left to pay? Plus they receive a stipend. So if you're interested in especially looking for a master's level degree or program in the United States or abroad, ask about graduate assistantship positions and what they offer. Sometimes this is an incredibly significant way to reduce cost while you are studying. Finally, just to touch on this briefly, we have what are called curricular and optional practical training in the United States. This is another benefit of your F1 visa. Curricular means curricular practical training, or CPT, refers to an internship position while you are studying. It can be paid, and optional practical training is post-graduation, so typically after you graduate with your degree program. We know that wages in the United States are typically very high, and they can be extremely high depending on what field you are going into. For example, those who study STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, typically are offered more paid internship positions at a higher rate. And OPT students, so those who apply for post-graduation work, after, of course, they finish their degree, can find jobs a little bit easier if they study STEM, so science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and at a higher rate. However, even if you study business, communications, broadcasting, the arts, you should still be able to ask whatever university you are interested in attending about their policies for CPT and their graduation outcomes for OPT students. Now, I want to talk about SUNY Oswego in particular and the kind of costs that you can expect to pay as a bachelor's or master's student who is studying at our particular university. And I want to apply some of the things we've learned so far in the presentation to financing your education at Oswego. So SUNY stands for State University of New York, SUNY, S-U-N-Y. The state university system in New York is one of the most prestigious and biggest public higher education institutions in the world. It's very well known throughout many countries around the globe. And it's known for being a public higher education institution which offers world-class education at an affordable price. SUNY Oswego in particular, we have many STEM programs, business programs, as well as the arts, specifically in communications and broadcasting when we talk about arts. And we were founded in 1861. Just as a brief snapshot of our campus, we have about 8,000 students and small class sizes, and over right now around 110 academic programs. 8,000 students means we are a medium-sized institution in the United States. Most institutions will range from 2,000 to maybe 20,000, 30,000 at the very largest. So we are a medium to small institution with small and personalized classes. We have 250 international students typically on our campus from over 40 different countries around the world, primarily from South Korea, India, Nepal, Spain, France, Germany, as well as we have a very big Nepali population on campus, some Turkish students as well, and really students from all around the globe. They come on both F and J visas. So some of our students, particularly our European students, you can see the Spanish population holding down here. They typically come for 1 semester or 2 semesters, then with the option of transferring to Oswego after completion of their exchange program. We are a beautiful lakeside campus. We are right on Lake Ontario in the center of New York State in a suburban area. Most of our students who study at SUNY Oswego take trips to New York City, Philadelphia, Boston, Montreal, or Toronto. As you can see in this map here, we are very kind of centrally located within the northeastern corridor in the United States. So we are close to Montreal. We are just across the lake from Toronto, 5 hours from New York City, pretty close to Philadelphia, Boston, etc. But many of our students will study at Oswego, which again is here, where the little arrow is pointing, but they may do their internships within the northeastern part of the United States. We're consistently ranked as a best value institution in the United States and one of America's best colleges. We were recently ranked among the top 10 best public institutions in the northern half of the United States for colleges. So colleges and universities tend to be used simultaneously in the United States. I want to go through, I do not want to bore everyone with a complete exhaustive list of how many programs we offer and how great they are. However, I do want to give you a snapshot of some of the programs that we offer. So I will talk now about some of our undergraduate programs for a few slides. These specifically pertain to, right now, our liberal arts and sciences. So as I mentioned, we're very STEM focused at Oswego: science, technology, engineering, math. Within science, biochemistry is the #1 degree at our university. It's very heavily populated and with excellent equipment and many research opportunities. Technology, our computer science degree with branches in electrical and computer engineering, as well as software engineering, are also excellent programs to study right now. They have very lucrative and ample job opportunities post-graduation, and the fields to study, particularly at Oswego. We have one of the most famous computer scientists in the world who is the head of our computer science department, one of the founders of Java, the Java programming language. We have a virtual reality lab right on our campus that our students can use, and plenty of internship opportunities. This is not an exhaustive list, by the way. I'm handpicking some of my favorite programs in each of these particular categories. Software engineering, another excellent and up-and-coming degree with great job opportunities post-graduation. And of course, humanities. We have programs like psychology, with a component to also receive your master's in business administration after you complete your psychology degree. So a combined program. Global and international studies, sociology, language and international trade. We have programs in anthropology with focuses in forensic anthropology. Our School of Business, again, we're talking about undergraduate programs here, is also very well known and recognized within the SUNY system and within New York State. We have an accounting program that also is a combined 5-year program. I'm not sure if I have any accounting fanatics out there, but if you are, and if you're interested in accounting, this is another very lucrative degree program in the United States right now. And the American CEO of one of the biggest accounting firms in the country, a company by the name of PricewaterhouseCoopers, graduated from Oswego only with his bachelor's degree. I believe he never got his master's degree. So we have excellent accounting internships opportunities at PricewaterhouseCoopers and with other top accounting firms. Our business administration degree is also very popular and combines elements of all of the other different facets of business. As you can see here, marketing, finance, human resource and risk management and insurance, as well as management and administration subjects. School of Education, I will not touch on at length here, but you can see some of our degrees. TESOL education, so teaching English to speakers of other languages, is particularly popular among our international students, though to be quite frank, we do not have many international students who enroll in our education programs because they are very New York State specific, though wonderful in their own way, though if you are interested in working in the United States after graduation, these are particular to New York State and therefore can be applied to many other states as well. You would just have to, as I just want to say, if you're interested in teaching or education, check, you should know within your country how well, or wherever you want to work in the future, you should know how closely this is regulated. Of course, I'm not an expert on Lithuanian education systems, but within the United States, where you study education kind of dictates where you can practice education. So our programs are specific to New York, which is recognized through most states in the United States. But just check how regulated that may be for you. School of Communication, Media, and the Arts, we were recently ranked within the top 10 best universities for broadcasting and mass communication in the United States. We also have a very healthy journalism and public relations programs. You'll see that we have I believe, 6 different TV station studios on our campus that our students can learn from. And many of the students who study broadcasting and mass communication, public relations, will go to New York City to work at some very top firms for their internships. But we'll talk about internships in just a second. For master's level programs, our most popular are business, so business administration, computer science and user experience, which include programs in human-computer interaction, and biomedical and health informatics. We also have some very up-and-coming communication programs in specifically strategic communication, as well as graphic design and digital media. As I've kind of mentioned throughout the listing of our programs, we have state-of-the-art facilities here at SUNY Oswego. Again, 6 digital TV station studios for our broadcasting majors, a virtual reality lab, a robotics lab, a computational and nanotechnology lab. Those are for our computer science and software engineering students in particular, or computer and electrical engineering students. We have a molecular biology and biochemistry center, a forensic anthropology lab, a greenhouse, 3D printers, so some really exciting equipment. However, I do want to mention we are a small institution. We have 8,000 students. So if you're considering an institution that has all of the same equipment, but 30,000 students, you are going to be competing for use of this equipment with 30,000 other students. So at Oswego, one of the wonderful things about studying at an institution of our size and our caliber is that you can use this equipment from your first or second year on campus. You don't have to wait until your master's degree to use a nuclear magnetic resonance spectrometer. So this is another kind of point that I will make specifically about education within small to medium-sized institutions. We, of course, have a vibrant and fun campus community. Most institutions will tell you that. I can attest to it firsthand. This beautiful building in the background here that you see is Hart Hall. It's our global living and learning community. I am the faculty resident mentor, resident meaning I live in Hart Hall on the 6th floor for my second year. So I know that the campus is fun. I know that it's safe. We have 200 different clubs and organizations ranging from the Young Entrepreneurs Club or the Young Investors Club to a photography club, to volunteering organizations, to our International Student Association on campus. I should mention as well, we are taking steps right now to control and minimize the spread of COVID-19. We're very serious about this on our campus. We recently moved to entirely online coursework. During that time, we drastically reduced the number of COVID-19 cases in the Oswego community. So now we are back to offering in-person classes after 2 weeks of being entirely online. So we're transitioning as the whole world is kind of in flux with this particular virus and global health situation. Finally, get into admissions and scholarships, I do want to mention 2 things. First, research, then internships. Because we are a smaller institution, 8,000 students, but big enough to have many faculty members and a lot of top-notch equipment, research opportunities are ample at Oswego. We have students who are constantly participating in research opportunities directly with their faculty members. And these range from, so when one thinks of research, they may think specifically about chemistry or biochemistry, but that's not the only research aspects that we have. We also, apart from the sciences, we also have research opportunities in business, in the humanities, in communications programs as well. Internships and cooperative experiences, we partner with over 1,000 local, national, and international partnerships. Some of our recent internship placements include Google, Viacom, ESPN for our broadcasting majors, or MTV or Elle Magazine for our broadcasting and mass communications majors, or even journalism majors. NASA for our physics students. We have a standing internship placement with Walt Disney World, which, as I've been told, is the best 3 months of your life because you work at Disney World every day. Top accounting firms like PricewaterhouseCoopers, IBM. We have a student right now, an international student in our human-computer interaction program who is interning at EA Sports. I believe they're the people who make FIFA, world soccer. Sorry, I don't play video games, but it's apparently a very big deal that he's doing this internship at EA Sports in game design. Finally, briefly, I will touch on criteria for admission and then cost. For our bachelor's applicants, we are looking at least a 2.5 out of 4.0 GPA. And you're probably going to say, but Maria, my curriculum is not based on a 4.0 scale. How do you calculate this? Send your transcripts to me during the application process. We evaluate those, we evaluate your transcripts, and we evaluate them based on a 4.0 scale. So what a 2.5 means is that you're at least an average student. You do not have to take the SAT, by the way. You don't have to take ACT or SAT. However, it can really help with scholarships. So we'll talk about merit scholarships within the next 2 slides. We will ask for some proof of English proficiency. That may typically come from TOEFL or IELTS, though it may also be from your SAT score. What about some IB courses? Those are proof of English proficiency, or A-level courses. We're accepting Duolingo now, which you can do from home, and it's cheap. So those are different criteria for undergraduate proof of English proficiency. For master's level students, we're looking for a 6.5 IELTS. It varies a little bit through TOEFL scores by TOEFL score, but we also accept Duolingo as well for master's degrees. The application process is very simple. It's an online application through the SUNY Common App. You submit official transcripts to my partners here at Ames, or they require them from your high school. Your English proficiency scores, again, should be submitted. I'm sure the partners at Ames could handle those for you and collect all of the materials and submit them directly to me. And then your application is evaluated. Cost. And now I told you at the beginning of this presentation that we were going to talk about this number, $35,350. This includes tuition, fees, living expenses, which includes what you eat and where you sleep, books, health insurance, and etc. Etc. may mean incidentals. It may be transportation fees, etc. So that all should be encompassed within about $2,500. For master's master level programs, this depends based on your credits, how many credits you are taking. However, our so-called I-20 costs are about these figures, 35, 36, 37. However, the I-20 cost does not factor in scholarships. It does not factor in your graduate assistantship positions. And so I want to talk to you about these opportunities specifically at Oswego. Remember when I was talking about diversity scholarships on our second slide? We offer an automatic $9,000 annual scholarship for all of our international students at the bachelor's level. In terms of purely tuition, this is over half of your yearly cost of tuition. And that's for all of our bachelor's international students who are studying on campus. So they have to be here in person to receive that scholarship. On top of that, we also offer merit scholarships. Again, those scholarships are going to be largely based on if you take the SAT or ACT. They range from $750 extra a year to $5,000 a year. On top of that, you can be awarded a co-op scholarship, depending on how, on what your major is, and if you're willing to participate in a paid internship program during the course of your studies. So all in all, for bachelor's level students, while our I-20 cost may be $35,000 a year, many of our students only pay between $21,000 to, let's say, $25,000 or $26,000 a year. Okay, so you can significantly reduce your I-20 cost through scholarships. In addition to that, I mentioned that we have really generous graduate assistantships available on our campus. These depend on the program that you are applying to and the availability of these assistantship positions. However, some of them are incredibly generous. We also offer scholarships for master's students. However, these assistantships are really the way to go because they can drastically reduce cost in some instances. That is all the information that I had. And I will stop sharing my screen so you should all be able to see me now. Hello, welcome to Hart Hall, our global living and learning community. And I am happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Maria. Before the questions and answers session, I'll just say a few more words with the presentation. With my presentation, just to remind everyone about the forthcoming webinars as well. So it's switching to Lithuanian again, Marija, just for a few minutes.
That's fine.
Tai prašom stebėti mūsų kitus webinarus, taip pat temos bus labai aktualios ir įdomios visiems, tai kviečiu jungtis. Ir taip pat po šito webinaro kviesime, siūlysim jums specialią nuolaidą mūsų galimybių studijai, būtent JAV, studijom JAV, kaip žinote, ir ten yra labai daug mokymo įstaigų ir reikia iš tikrųjų gerai pasižiūrėti, kurią mokymo įstaigą pasirinkti. Taigi, okay, back to questions and answers. I have the first question. I'll start with the first question. So what about the admissions? Do you have rolling admissions? Is there a deadline when the students should submit their application? How does it work?
Rolling admissions. So our students can submit applications. Typically, we say for priority scholarship consideration. If you are applying for fall, which starts late August, then you should apply by May 1st, ideally. Many of our students apply as early as 8 months prior to that. So they start the application process very early. But to be honest, we've accepted students into June for August intake. It just depends on if there is space available in the programs.
Sure, thank you very much. Okay, ar turit klausimų? Galiu išversti tuos klausimus į anglų kalbą arba rašykite chatą drąsiai. I've just asked everyone to maybe indicate their questions in the chat section. Okay. But Lithuanians are very shy.
That's okay. I'm shy too.
Yeah. Okay, so No, I don't see any questions at the moment, but I'm sure we'll have the questions later, which is absolutely fine. So Maria, thank you once again for a very, very comprehensive presentation of Oswego. I love the university myself. I think it's a great choice. Yes, absolutely.
We would love for you to visit us.
Yeah, thank you. And, and when you think, about the final fee of 21,000, 25,000 euros, dollars, if you exchange it into euros, so that's about 15 only thousand euros. And that's what I keep saying, everyone, you have to check the United States first before you say it's too expensive.
Right.
Okay,
yeah, I totally agree with that, and especially where what the location is of the particular university. We're located, as many SUNY, State University of New York institutions, we're located in a suburban, nearly rural atmosphere. We're one of the least expensive regions in New York State. When everyone thinks of New York, they think Manhattan and expensive and luxury, but we're far outside of New York City. It's rather inexpensive.
Okay.
And I see we have a question.
Yes, we have a question about theater studies, or maybe performing arts, to be more general.
Perfect. So I have a confession to make. I am not 100% an expert in every single one of our programs. We have over 110 different programs. So sometimes I have to cheat. So I'm going to cheat right now, and I'm going to show you more information about our theater program. So here we go. So you should be able to see my screen again. One thing that I found very interesting, this is kind of a side note, one of the things that I found very interesting now is that during COVID-19, the show must go on. So we are having virtual plays. The Misanthrope is going to be offered very soon, which I'm sorry. It was already, no, it had the tickets. Oh, that's weird. They may be reperforming it because I just received a ticket for mine next week. So it is an interesting, experience. So we're constantly producing works of theater. Whether you are a theater major or not, you can enroll in our in some of our plays and performances on campus. I want to show you the degree tracks specifically. So there are several different tracks that you can choose from. We have one of our most popular is our music theater track. We have a very good music program on campus that is nationally accredited. So this is an excellent track if you are a music buff, or if you are particularly talented in music and also with a interest in theater. We also have an acting and directing track, a design or tech track, dramaturgy, or theater history track. We also have related minors that you can study if you are interested in theater specifically. So these range from a dance minor, expressive arts therapy, which I think is such an interesting minor or program or career path, as well as an audio design and production minor. I would like, oh, by the way, this is our Waterman Theater. It was recently renovated. It is an absolutely gorgeous building. I wish I had more pictures of it handy just so you could see, but this is the outside of it. It forms kind of like a dome inside the building for proper acoustics. And this is really the centerpiece of our theater program. This is where our plays in a non-COVID-19 environment are held. Now they are on Zoom. So I can send, and I would like to be able to send, by the way, the curriculum. It may take me a little bit longer to find. However, I want to send the curriculum for these different tracks, probably to you, Eglė, after, so that it can be forwarded to the student. If it's not relevant to everyone, then I'll just go ahead I'll just go ahead and send those to you after, but I want you to see the actual coursework that you will be taking as part of the theater major at Oswego. This is one of the more arts programs that we have on campus. And of course, someone studying theater would also qualify for our merit or diversity scholarships as well.
Oh, that's great. Wonderful. Thank you. Well, I'll definitely check the theatre options. Maybe we can attend theatre virtually. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm not sure what time it would occur for you, but
yeah, true. Well, I studied myself at Penn State, and that's exactly what they did, but it wasn't virtual at that time. I could attend any shows and performances that I liked, which was great.
Yeah, that is wonderful. And one of the beautiful things about studying theater, we have a student, an international student who graduated 2 years ago, who was a double major in theater and business. And I think, for example, that's something that you can do with an education in the United States. They're rather flexible. You can declare something that you love or are passionate about in conjunction with something that is very practical, like business. But I think theater really, apart from the art of it, it really helps to develop confidence, presentation skills, and it's great for someone who wants to go into business, because then you're better at like projecting your voice and convincing. And so I don't know, I'm a big fan of combined majors, so dual majors, and theater in particular can be very useful for a wide range of skills and employment apart from the arts.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Maria. Once again, no more questions at the moment, so we'll keep in touch. And thank you again for the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for your time today.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.